see where it's going to be. When I had an opportunity to do that, it was probably maybe 7 or 8 years into it, when we were going through all the political problems about shutting it down and coming back. And then when the Vegas crew took it over and actually got ascension in Vegas, seeing from where it was at that time being closed down with Bob Meyer, which is the original SCG, the UFC, and then when the Fertitas took it over, and then they got it to the numbers that they got it to now, is when I really look back on it and said, wow, this is definitely going somewhere, and it's pretty incredible to see where it's at today. And then seeing the guys that are in it, the cross training that they do, because when we did it, there was stand-up, there were strikers and then grapplers. And, for a while the grapplers took over and was winning, and then the strikers learned how to defend takedowns, and they were knocking the grapplers out. And then you get to see where now everybody's doing everything. So it's definitely been a pleasure to actually sit and watch the transitions and where it's gone and where it is today. So it's definitely been a road of pleasure and also disappointments.
Question for both of you. You're both legends of the sport. You've been around for a long time. You've had some great fights. You've fought all over the world. And this is also from a fighter's perspective. What inspires you to keep fighting? What is it that drives you to step back in there, put yourself on the line, and give everyone a great fight? What is it that makes you tick?
I don't know. I just can't stop. I just can't wake up and nothing to do. All my life I wake up, go to the gym, training and compete. So I can't live like that. So it will be hard for me the day I have to. One day I will stop. When I stop, it's going to be hard. Wake up and say, man, what am I going to do today? I'm not going to the gym. It's pretty strange for me. It sounds strange. Every day I train all my life, so it's going to be hard. The day that I have to stop will be very hard for me. But it's nice. I love to compete. I love to be in the ring. That's why I do.
But I think it goes with any athlete. You talk about anybody, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, boxing, Australian rugby or Australian football. There's an adrenaline that goes with that, and that adrenaline becomes a drug, and it's something that you wake up and you do every day. That adrenaline that you get from going into the gym and training with your partners and getting in there and you get through that rough workout and people patting you on the back, and then to work up to the fight where you're ready to get in the ring and fight. Then you get in the ring and fight, and whether you're victorious or defeated, there's still that uplifting emotional lift or drop off afterwards. So it's a drug. It's an adrenaline rush. It's a drug that you're used to every day, being able to get that rush, get that good feeling. And then when you don't have that anymore, you have to have something to replace it. And psychologically, you have to. Most athletes, if they don't find something to replace it, they end up doing things they shouldn't do. So I know it sounds kind of funny, but I love to play golf. And I love to put that little white ball on the tee, and I like to just gear it up and crank it as far as I can, and I get a rush out of that too. So, there's other things that you can find to fill that void. But again, like I said, I think it's a drug. It's that adrenaline rush you get.
And you also might have mentioned to the press people who aren't aware that just a little bit about the movie that's being filmed.
Yeah, we got a film being done, basically on my life story. Some of you that have followed my career a little bit knows my ups and downs, and I've been through quite a few of them, and especially from where I was born and the upbringing that I had. So we have a crew that's going to be following around and filming that. So for me to be able to do this, it's going to be more of a story, documentary story about trying to help youth and children who come from a family that's one, either drug abused parents or death. They didn't have parents, or raised by the ward of the court. Anything like that, my story really goes along those lines, and to be able to reach out to a lot of these youth and these kids out there who don't have anything at the end of the tunnel, or at least they don't think there is, but they can kind of create their own world if they work hard enough and they do that. And so that's the kind of the story we're going to do. It's going to be my life story, but it's going to, at the end, it's going to really touch a lot of the kids that think they don't have anything, and they do. They can create their own world and their own future.
How did the documentary come about? Whose idea was it? What was the genesis for it?
I've since the beginning of the UFC, when we were in, I believe it was, I can't remember, Puerto Rico. Yeah, it was Puerto Rico when I fought Chemo. I went to a group home out there, and they had, and the group home was like this. There was a truck trailer out there in the middle of the dirt, and then there was a pole in the middle of the ground, and it had a piece of wood up, and it had a milk carton stapled to the back of the board where they had a little ball that was flat that they played basketball with. Well, in this truck trailer, there was beds lined along the walls where these kids slept. Then there was a little adobe hut that was probably 100 yards from this trailer that was down by a river. And there was 3 rooms in this adobe hut, but there's no roof over the top of it. And the kids that did very well and that were actually farther along in the program got to stay in this adobe hut. They got their own room. And these were for the kids that were there longer and that were doing well. And I remembered from that point on, I made it a point to be able to reach out, be able to give part of my earnings, my fight purse, to a youth program somewhere, wherever we were fighting, to a youth program that would help these kids to a better life. When I saw this and the hard times on all this, there was in my mind, there was an opportunity for me to be able to talk about these things, and then also too in the States to be able to tell a little bit about my story and where I came from. That would be not necessarily focused on me, but basically on my lifestyle and where I came from, that will help a lot of the other kids that are going through these same situations and these problems, that it's not the end of the road. And just because you don't maybe have parents that are there that can, nurture you and focus and do things for you, you just have to have a mindset that you're not going to fail and that you're not going to quit and that nobody's going to take anything from you and you will be successful. And have a mindset that you're not going to be beaten. And I'm not talking about in a fight, I'm talking about in life.
Is there any specific groups that you're working with at this point in time in relation to this fight, or is it in general?
No, there is. And do you know who we're working with? It was, where's Lance at?
Right here.
What's the guys we're working with?
The movie?
Yeah.
Darren Wilson from Wonderlust Productions.
Yeah, Darren Wilson of Wonderlust Productions. They're a Christian-based organization, which I think most people know that I'm a born-again Christian. So they're going to be doing this docudrama kind of thing. And he's done 2 movies now, Finger of God and what was it? Furious Love, that have been outstanding, has done a lot within our world. So we're really excited to be working with them and being able to get this story out, and hopefully that will make a difference.
When you say our world, do you mean born again Christianity?
Yes, sir.
How, explain that world. How would you describe the world of born again Christianity for you?
Well, one thing I don't want to do, and I'm trying to get you to obey, but I don't want to get into that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has a way of life. I'm not going to say my way is better than anybody else's. It's what I chose. It's what I believe in. And I'm not going to get into forcing anybody else to believe what I believe. It's what I believe, and if somebody else wants to jump on board and know what it's about, I'll be happy to explain it to them. But I'm not going to get into a debate whether or not it's real or not real.
We also are doing a movie on your dad's life story.
And I don't know if most of you guys know my dad. He was in the beginning, really helped me, and also my brother Frank, and also lots and lots of other kids. He owned a group home, and he helped a lot of kids in his life be able to live a normal life. So we're actually doing a life story on him also. So I think that's going to be pretty exciting too, to know that there's more people out there trying to help our youth and not just turning it around and acting like there's not a problem out there.